Broads Media.
They sounded the alarms. The 76ers as a team sounded the alarms in Miami. Going team meeting is a huge deal. And to be fair, it's a huge deal to be 2-11 and to look this bad. They were up almost 20 points and got fucking blown out. Joel Embiid, we got to rip the Band-Aid off. Whatever's going on, whether it's the new reality and that knee will never be the same and his career just straight up fell off a cliff, or he re-injured something and it will eventually get back to okay, but we're still 3-4 months out until that's possible, and he'll probably need rest to do it. So essentially, he's currently banged up, but can still get back on track eventually. Or he's just that out of shape. And he did no ramping up, and he's that rusty where he didn't dribble a basketball until about whatever was one day before his initial start to the season. What is it? I'm leaning towards this is the real Embiid. Can he beat anybody anymore? I'm just saying, off the bounce, go into the rack. I'm watching a guy who looks incapable of playing the sport. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's no more elite Joel Embiid ever again, and he will be the perfect tale that we talk about someone's career who we wish didn't have to deal with injuries and we were able to see them 100% healthy. He just falls into that category. Shorter-lived primes because a big man couldn't keep going. It's sad. It's sad. Imagine if Jared McCain wasn't even popping off. Because we should be at 50,000 in regards to our rage meter. And I believe we're probably at 47,000. So we're still up there. But that 3,000 that's missing because Jared McCain is a baller. Yo, this dude hoops. Like he hoops, right? He doesn't just have a nice little game. We're talking middies. We're talking no-dip threes, sickening. And that soft spot is kicking down the rage meter a tick, and I don't like it. And I'm falling in the trap sometimes personally as well. But then I just remind myself that, holy fuck, they are bad. They are a bad basketball team. Paul George was supposed to help and be the savior. He can't make wide open looks. He can have wide open looks all day and not hit any of them. There's a reason why he earned the paycheck. And there was a part of me that wondered, what happens once he gets this final fat deal? What happens? He didn't want to come here. He wanted to get a bag. You know how he felt about the West Coast. You know how he felt about playing in LA. Come on. Does that look like a dude that plays with a passion for wanting to really carry this team and to help with this city finally get a championship because we're starving? Or does it look like it's someone who's just going through the motions and seeing whatever happens? I'll live with the results, but I'm not fighting for these fellas. Does that look like a connected group? Or does it just look like a pissed off, aggravated set of individuals that happen to wear the same damn laundry? Maxey could have the biggest smile in the world. Jared McCain could bring a little life to the party. But I hate to break it to you. It's on Joel. It's on Paul George. That's how this thing was designed. I've already witnessed a couple of teams in this Joel Embiid era slap in 50-plus regular season wins. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Guess what? They weren't all together every game then. I've been screaming about how much this franchise has had so much turnover with coaches, with talent, with starters, with bench pieces, Seth Curry and Drummond and Harden and Tobias and the whole damn thing. They weren't gelled perfectly. They won a lot of regular season games. So there's zero excuses. They are 13 games into the season. That's a good chunk. Before you know it, we'll be 20, 22, 25. And the way that this is trending, you were supposed to enter Joel Embiid to the lineup, and then you were going to rattle off a bunch of wins. At least that's what they projected, and that's why they took this silly little Embiid approach. But let me break it down for you if you're listening, Maury, or if you're listening, Joshua Harris, as you're driving up and down 95, going to Newark, New Jersey for the Devils, down to the damn Commanders, and you throw on Sports Talk with Broads on your podcasting platform, which you can find on Apple Podcast, Spotify, any of your podcasting platforms. If you use those apps and hit subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and a review, I would love you so much. But let me tell you something. Your plan blows. Your plan fucking sucks. I'm starting to believe that there was no plan. I'm starting to believe that what actually transpired was they said, we just won't play him a lot. Okay, sounds good. Break. And then they all leave the meeting room. No legitimate schedule, no legitimate idea. Just whenever, we'll do whatever. But the idea and the concept is Joel Embiid will not play a lot of regular season time to try and keep his body right for the postseason. I'm dead ass serious. The guy was down and out with an illness and actually was downgraded on the injury report as doubtful. And I think he heard the reaction and then forced himself on the court. That's what I think happened, because it's getting so controversial, and not really, actually. No, I take that back. It's not controversial at all. Everybody's on the same page. Do you know how difficult it is to get the entire city of Philadelphia, the whole entire city, every single person sees it the same exact way with their own damn pupils, that this team sucks, this team is an issue, and this team has problems, and we all see it. We all see it. All of us. You can't have two people to agree on anything in today's age. But I think Joel Embiid heard the frustration and the anger and started to realize that even his biggest supporters are starting to look the other way. And hell, I'd put myself closer to that than not. I mean, I'm not the I'll never criticize Joel Embiid ever type of diehard fan, but I really like Joel Embiid. He truly is, in my lifetime, one of the better Philadelphia athletes we had come to town. And I'm not just talking on court stuff, just in regards to a pro. It's a big deal. Joel Embiid's a big deal. But he's starting to lose me. You can't go down with an illness in an NBA season. Just the fact that it was teased, right? You took your warm-ups. You wanted to see how you felt. We should have no knowledge of this at all. Unless it's legitimate diarrhea, okay? And you're on your side in your bathroom and there's vomit that is nonstop. You can't even get up to do it in the toilet anymore. If it's to that level of sick, then by all means, don't touch the basketball. All right? Take a couple days off. But clearly that wasn't the case. Although, sure looked like it on the court. Oh, man, that's a slap in the face. And guess what? This team deserves it. These losses are tragic. These losses are so bad They look so not interested. They don't want to play the game for one another. I'll give Nick Sirianni a ton of credit here. You know what he believes into his core? Core values. Oh, man, I hate them. But one of the things that he stresses forever is it's not about who has the best players. It's about being able to not only take those best players, but create a special bond and a special relationship. And hell, there's probably a correlation with why when a lot of us wonder, how does he manage to keep them all on the same path? It's because of that element that allows for them to still support Sirianni enough to fight for him on the field throughout the chaos and the circus. Normally, when you have to go into the team meeting mode, it's probably all lost. I mean, it's a Hail Mary. But sometimes, as you see, the Commanders could throw a Hail Mary. Someone could be dancing in the end zone to somebody's phone in the first row, and then the Hail Mary gets caught after a trip drill. So it happens. And maybe this is one of them because technically there are a lot of stars on this team. Maxey not being here damages it all right now, but George and Embiid are here. You should be winning with that. And as much as you look at Kyle Lowry, as much as you look at some guys from behind the arc outside of Jared McCain, this thing was supposed to go as Joel Embiid goes. And there's got to be nights where Paul George is the one with all the finish. That's how this thing was structured. And that's where it begins right now. It doesn't take anyone off the hook if they're role players. It doesn't take anybody off the hook if I expected more from them. You have to play your role. But even if those guys played their role with everything, with the lack of energy going towards the leader of the team, Joel, you can't overcome that. You just can't overcome that until Joel Embiid and Paul George fix themselves. And you know what? I don't know what Nick Nurse is. I think he's a good coach. Not blown away by anything. And not only that, forget about how I feel. Look at him. Look at him. When he was getting asked about Joel Embiid's injury status a week or two into the season, he looked to be a broken man. I said it then. He looks like Doug Peterson when he's about to get fired. He looks like Joe Girardi when he's about to get fired. Not that I'm saying firing Nick Nurse is even a thought. No, that's not at all. But I'm talking about body language of Embiid. Crap. Right now, body language from head coach screams, there's panic. There's serious stuff happening behind the scenes. And it could just be boiled down frustration from whoever is telling the Sixers and, you know, whatever information they're getting about Embiid, it's like, enough's enough. I don't know what you want me to do. This thing is spiraling, and this Joel Embiid nonsense is a flat-out mess, and it's causing a lot of controversy inside, and that's probably what's going on. So they don't know if he's playing illness, this and that. How much of this is Joel Embiid saying, yo, I don't feel good, and then Nick's like, dude, you don't feel good? What do you mean you don't feel good? I need you tonight, big fella. And then that rubs off on the coach. But I'm just saying, eye test. Let me fix my headphones here. Eye test and just the feel, the look, all of it. That's a head coach that is like squandering, if that's a word. His brain's bouncing off the walls nonstop, thinking about 50,000 different issues with the team right now, trying to focus on who is available to coach the team through a win, but you got to worry about Embiid's status, and you're getting grilled. And I know it's part of the job, don't get me wrong, but it's not an easy one because I know for a fact Embiid has a lot of say. And what if this is Embiid wants it a certain way, no one else is agreeing with him? And I'm just saying everything's on the table right now. But it wouldn't surprise me if hypothetically, and yes, it's 1,000% hypothetical, but what if Embiid is saying like, I'm not playing these games. Like, I don't care to play. And then Nick's like, what do you mean you're not playing this game, man? Come on. Like the fact that even whether he plays or not, the fact that if that discussion is even happening, that starts friction. That starts the exact opposite of the relationship that Sirianni is trying to build. Even if he gets sort of pushed in the back by Morey or his teammates of, come on, Joel, we need you here. He gets pushed in the back. That sounds silly, right? We're talking about an NBA pro athlete who just got an extension and is making millions, billions of dollars. I'm saying everything is on the table, and we'll sort out the BS. That could be BS, or we'll sort out some of the truths, and that could be a truth. What I truly believe is happening, though, is simply this. Until proven otherwise, I don't know if Joel Embiid has it anymore physically. We could be in the downfall era of he strictly can do certain things on the floor, and that's it. But he can't jump, he can't get rebounds, can't jab, step in, hit mid-range jumpers. It's a shell of himself. And if that's who Joel Embiid is, then we need to have some serious talks about what we do. I don't believe Joel Embiid is healthy. Actually, false. Scratch that. I believe Joel Embiid is healthy. I believe this is Joel Embiid, the final era. The final era of Sixers basketball with a broken Joel Embiid, who after his most recent surgery, the knee never was able to be the same again. And he had that one game in the Olympics for Team USA. But off the top of my head, not that I dug into every single possession, because I'd be lying if I said I did. Team USA basketball doesn't do it for me that way, especially in the early stages of the Olympics. But I saw what happened to get them to the gold medal game, and that was the big, loud noise game for him. Is that because the other games, the magic only comes out of the wand maybe once a week instead of where it was 3 times a week? And that was sort of the, hey, we got the one awesome game, and then the rest was sort of, it is what it is. So we'll get the glimpses of it, the very rare once in a whiles. But you got to bring it every single day. It's got to be every single night. It's got to be 90% of it. The team is built around Joel. He does everything as an anchor defensively. And he does everything offensively. Not literally everything, but he is the staple of both sides of the floor. Without real standard play from him, even if it's a below average game, I need the right Joel Embiid back. You can win an NBA regular season game even with a below average Joel Embiid on a night if it's the standard feel. He gets to his spots, he's in rhythm, he's going up for his jumpers, he just misses a couple, but he finds a way to get to the line. It's scrappy. It's not a good game on the box score that wows you, but it's a scrappy good game where he battled and found timely buckets and made big timely plays, even if he struggled throughout a good portion of it, and you get a nice role player game too, or McCain's giving you 20 and someone else sprinkles in a couple of threes to help with a push. You could still win with that version. You need the confident belief, I can actually dominate the league, Joel Embiid, just from the way his persona is in that game. Do you follow? So that gives me the goosebumps thinking about that version of Embiid. That's the Joel Embiid that I love. I don't know what this is. This is the new norm. It's what Dougie P said at one time. It's the new norm. What happened? Ooh. Here's the new norm. Ooh. 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 It's bad. It's not good. All right, we'll take some anytime hotline calls first. Garage Beer, one thing that will help you get through this 76er season is the greatest light beer to ever touch your lips. DrinkGarageBeer.com. When you go see your boys, when you go hang out with the ladies, and you got a nice rack on your shoulder, you say, oh, look what I got. And everyone's going to be like, damn, this dude. You know what I'm saying? This dude. DrinkGarageBeer.com. You want to be this dude. Embiid doesn't trust it. Embiid doesn't trust his knee right now. Embiid doesn't trust it. He looks timid. He looks scared. And I remember hearing him talk after one of his first games this season. And he said it's hard to get over that mental hurdle. And what shakes me there is think about when he had the surgery. He had the surgery before last season's playoff push, right? He then went on a playoff push, had the Olympics, had a mini break before the start of this season too, and he still can't get over that jump or that hump and jump over it. It's a long time. If you don't trust it now, with that much basketball under your belt since you actually got the procedure done, then this is the new norm. He won't ever actually fully get over it if he hasn't yet. And truth be told, take away us, the fans, and us with watching an NBA basketball player for a second and think more of Joel Embiid himself and what he has been through physically since getting here, it probably makes sense for someone's body to break down after everything he's been through. Right? Like we sit here and go, hey, maybe this is just what it is. Well, fuck, don't you think? Don't you think? He's 7'2". He's had 1 billion surgeries. He's breaking his face. His hands need to be sewed back on. He's playing through that and dropping 50 points and dribbling the ball nonstop. Yeah, what do you think? I'm not mad at him in particular when it comes to just what happens naturally as you deteriorate as an athlete over time. Just mad. Although I'm mad at some things with Embiid, right? But, I'm mad more of the fact that we're even here and then the realization as that this could be it as the Joel Embiid era is known. This could be it. Here's the one crazy-ass positive of it all after saying a statement like that. The Sixers are actually set up for a nice new wave, for an energetic new wave. I don't know if Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain can ever work together as a backcourt with that size, but it does sort of follow the mold of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we'll keep an eye on them because they will almost be the test dummy. They'll be the rat that's getting all the tests done on them for the experiments. And we'll see if it pans out. And if so, then bada bing, bada boom, we're good. But either way, whether it's good enough to win a championship or just good enough to start a new wave of Sixers basketball, the fact that that's sitting in your pipeline, I was always concerned about the timeline of Maxey and Embiid. Maxey, great. Maxey not ready now. Embiid ready now. McCain and Maxey's timeline are very similar. And it makes me disappointed that that's even being brought up. They acquired Paul George this offseason to be labeled a contender again. Now, I'm thinking about what happens when Embiid is no longer here and what their roster can look like. Things change rather quickly. This is a dose of reality. Sucks. It sucks. I thought maybe we'd be a team that wins 50-plus games and breaks my heart again. Okay? At the worst. But I guess is that worse than this? Because this could set a new direction quickly. You won't have fake belief longer. So yes, we're getting hit with a dose of this now, and it's probably better for the long term, but I'll never run away from, even with the frustrating Sixers, if you can get to the second round, game 6, game 7 vibes consistently, I can expect a breakthrough eventually. Eventually, you can break through. Eventually. So I don't want to rob myself of that. And this little this or that we're throwing around. We're throwing around this or that, it's all about, it revolves around, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we blowing this thing up? Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. All right, let's go take a few Anytime Hotline calls.
Hey, this your OG, Mike from Philly. Peep this, man. It's time to play all of the young boys, man. I'm tired of looking at this. I've been a long-time Sixers fan, man. I go all the way back to Freddie Carter, Henry Bibby, even Wilt Chamberlain, man. This is pathetic with Embiid, Paul George, and these other old players. Eric Gordon, Kyle Lowry, Reggie Jackson, just to name a few. They shouldn't even be on the squad. Play the young boys, man, so we'll have a better outlook of what we got and try to build from there. Thank you for listening to me, man, and I'll be listening to you as well. Peace out.
Oh, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate your call. Definitely want to continue to hear from you. Thank you. So I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. I mean, it's just where I'm at now. I'm with you. I'm sort of an open box right now, and I'm willing to just consume a lot of craziness and a lot of different thoughts, and some of it won't be crazy. I'm willing to hear everything. I am open. Whichever direction you want to take me on here for this, where do the Sixers go next model that we have, bring it on. Bring it on. That hurts me. I want to see more McCain. That's the only thing that puts a smile on my face is Jared McCain. He is so good. But Caleb Martin and Eric Gordon and the 99-year-old Kyle Lowry. He ran our offense in the playoffs last year for 40 plus. For 40 plus! What year is this? You think this is 2012? Kyle Lowry can't do that. In 2012, he was like 8 years into his career. 2006, six years in. I'm so broken. You had me looking at playoff game logs from last year with Kyle Lowry to show you that man against the Knicks, 40 was a little much. 38-45, 33-36, 33. 33 minutes too damn long. And they started relying on all these old guys. I don't care about them anymore. I really don't. This is about Jared McCain now. This is about Jared McCain giving me hope that not only can he be great, but can he be something that is, whoa. You know? Whoa. That's different. And I don't know. Maybe that's way too asinine for me to even have that thought in the back of my head. But I feel you're sick if you don't. When you see someone start out with these type of numbers, you wonder, when will it end? What's the ceiling? How far can it go? If you don't stretch it out to the crazy nth degree, then you're sick. He's the only one that I could sit down and actually enjoy his game currently. Andre Drummond, all this stuff. No second half points. Think about some of those second half points. Embiid didn't play the whole game. So if Embiid could barely move and he's super jacked up and his body's not right and he's on the bench, there's minutes for others to be able to get a point. Looking at second chances. Second chances. They can't score coming out of the half. They were up almost 20 points. This thing wasn't a competition in the third quarter. How does the extreme happen in that short amount of time? The only way is you're not competing. And if you're not competing, I ask why you're not competing. And are you not competing because you're too hurt to? Just unwillingness? Or are you working hard and this team sucks that much? Unbelievable. Let's take another call.
Bros, I wanted to give my thoughts about the Sixers and where they are. I don't know if you wanted to hear these calls, but I think the priority of the Sixers this season should be to develop Jared McCain and young players as much as possible, but also they have to tank to get this top 6 pick because this team is just not going anywhere. They're too dependent on Embiid. And I think the Joel Embiid era has to end. I'm not saying Joel Embiid is a scrub. I'm not saying that he's an untalented player and a bum. I am saying it is incredibly hard for this team to really build a roster around him. They're very dependent on him. And I think he kind of does hold the team back a little bit. And that really sucks to say because I've always really liked him when he was a Sixer. But I want you to think about where this franchise would be if they got a top 6 pick. If this team tanks hard enough to get Cooper Flagg, that's your next face of the franchise. And you would already be putting him on a team with Maxey, developing McCain, and Paul George. And in this scenario, you would get rid of Joel Embiid, but who knows, he might still be here too. And you're automatically back in it. Or if that pick is not quite first overall, but it's still in the top 5, you can use that pick, and you can use maybe the Clippers pick from 2027 to go out and land another star who could be alongside Maxey and George and McCain and just some of these other players that this team has.
All right, so let me stop you there. And your overall point on tanking. We got to remember this. If it is true that the Joel Embiid era is coming to an end, after all the assets that they put into him, all the money, all the swing and misses, all the new faces within the franchise underneath ownership, they're not just going to look at it from our perspective, right or wrong, and go, well, you know what? If we get Cooper Flagg, we're going to be good. Let's just turn the Joel Embiid leaf over. It's fine. And let's just tank after buying Paul George in the offseason with that big contract and all. Nah. All right, you know what? Let's just do it. You want to do it? Yeah, let's just do it. If this is it for the Joel Embiid era, and they're still holding on hope after bringing in Paul George and signing Maxey and getting Nick Nurse in here, they're not just, what do you guys think? You want to do it? They're going to do everything in their power to try and get this back on the rails because of what it means to the franchise. It's a big deal. It's a huge deal if we're just throwing the white flag out and giving up on Embiid. I'm willing to talk about trading him organizationally through 13 games of this new era with Paul George. And he only played a little bit of them, and Embiid only played 3 of them. I don't believe they're going to have that same view and the same knee-jerk reaction. Not that it would be a knee-jerk reaction. I think it's fair to wonder where we are. But in regards of throwing this season away as a president of basketball ops, I mean, some of these guys, too, they don't care about the future. I'd imagine Daryl Morey, and maybe I'm wrong. I know contracts and whatnot, but I would think after the Embiid stuff, you gotta make this whole thing fresh. Like when Embiid goes, this whole thing goes. Morey, Nurse. I mean, when this thing goes, I want this thing to go. No matter how good you think they are at their respected job. And if that's the case, and if they know Morey's out the door, and if you know some major overwhelming changes are happening, how does that benefit Morey? They probably respect Morey anyway, based off of his history and length of time as a president in this league. But I'm just saying, maybe that's an element of it too. I don't know. I just rambled there, and this team pisses me off. That's where we're at. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I love you guys to death. I'll see you on the next one.